Howdy, folks. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. We have Anthony joining us today. Eck will be here in a second after he hops out of the shower. And Russ, you start with the pre-show.
So let's talk about Dak Prescott. It is amazing to me how the lengths that some Cowboys fans will go to protect some of their stars. And certainly they do in Dallas. Like, we know they've done – like, that's the one thing I'll respect about a city like Philadelphia and New York is they let their stars get away with a little bit, but not nearly as much as Dallas. But anyhow, the other day I posted up on a Facebook page that Dak Prescott had this party, and there was this one guy who literally was fighting me on it, telling me it was fake news. I gave him both articles. I showed him pictures, didn't believe me. But now, of course, now that Dak Prescott has come out and commented on it, you know, he's strangely silent. And the thing about this is I don't think Dak Prescott still gets it. He was upset that people were picking on him for having this party because he was within the legal limit of having 10 people. But in this era right now, this moment, nobody has 10 people over. And the fact that you have a buffet and not everything is just like pre-sealed and just given to somebody, you're asking for a lot of trouble with 10 people. Like, I haven't seen 10 people in the last 2 weeks, and I go food shopping and there's nobody there. Like, I don't have anybody over the house, but when guys think they're entitled and this is what happens. And ultimately, you know, we heard Fauci talk, and we'll probably talk about it more later, how guys have to basically stay quarantined. So if they do want to go play, they are clean when they start and stay clean. What if something happens from that party and the Cowboys season's ready to start and Dak Prescott is sick? Like, he just blew the season because of a dinner party, and that could happen.
Anthony, I look at this story. I heard it this morning on ESPN, and I'm like, there is not a story out there that is a better example of the fact that nothing else is going on. And I'm not defending Dak Prescott because Russ is right. Nobody is stupid enough to have, a patio party or anything like that right now with what's going on. But my God, it's like front page news.
It shouldn't be front page news.
Even before games, even before we got to this circumstance. This was the direction we had been moving in with a lot of stories anyway, especially, yes. And now you have a vacuum of athletic events in general. But if you think about it, ESPN, a lot of these places, those are the stories that they're leading with anyway, rather than the actual games themselves.
Nope, that's true.
So now that you don't have that at all, that's all. They're desperate at this point. It's chum in the water for them.
Yeah.
You know, if you do so much as a little something. That would be considered to be, but obviously it is a big enough deal if it's in violation of a stay-at-home policy. But still, But
it's almost like, I mean, right now, he's the only guy on the Cowboys that isn't signed. They did the franchise tag on him, and there's a war in the media going on between Prescott and the Cowboys, and talk about trading him, which I don't think is going to happen. But it's just like, I mean, okay. Just lump more useless crap into this scenario, and it's all for the point of what all of a sudden he's going to get ripped in the media, and he's going to take a 5-year deal instead of a 6-year deal. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way. But to be fair, I mean, I wouldn't have run it the way ESPN ran it, but they didn't have a story if Dak Prescott didn't have a party.
True. Now the other ridiculous thing about the NFL that I heard this morning, and I believe they were interviewing the new Carolina coach, and they were talking to him about mini camp, and I'm like, okay, I thought they canceled mini camps. I thought that obviously the players can't travel to the NFL facilities. No, they're having virtual mini camp. They're having mini camps where they're going to be on, I guess, Zoom or something like that. So what are they going to be filming the guys?
You're going to have 60 different, like, they're going to have the triple monitor, massive thing is going to be pointing.
You're making the wrong cut.
Hey, number 65, that's the wrong cut. 33, no, that's the wrong route in your living room. I mean, I have no idea how this.
I mean, they're all going to do jumping jacks.
You need the electrode here, not here.
Yeah. I just got off the electrodes myself. Are they going to do like jumping jacks together? Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, okay, first of all, is this just the fact that these NFL teams
they're running? Hold on, but hey, one thing is consistent. everybody would be in shorts just like they would have been in minicamp anyway.
That's true.
but the thing is, it's like, okay, is it the fact that the NFL teams just have this, I mean, we know that they value those mini camps. They bring these guys in. They have to be there. Even there's restrictions.
Like the Stations of the Cross, Michael.
Jesu Cristo. No, I mean, but it's
ritual. We must do it. It's ritual. We must. If not, everything goes to hell.
Yeah, the only positive of this,
I got whack on the knuckles when I was in Catholic school because I
once covered
my left hand.
I once covered training camp, right, for the Eagles up when they used to have it in Lehigh, and that place was miserable. You were exposed to the sun. There was no way to get away from it in the early days. Now, of course, there's tents and all that.
You're talking about like regular training camp versus this
regular training camp. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if they had it and they had it up in Lehigh, like also the mud there was just incredible. Now, of course, every team's got their own little setups now closer to the teams, but I don't know. Did they ever have mini camps in a place like that? They might have. I don't know.
Well, please. I mean, they used to have 2-a-days in 95-degree temperatures.
Yeah.
That all ended after what happened with Corey Stringer in Minnesota. And then if you remember, I think we mentioned it when we were doing the worst or best films, the movie The Junction Boys, where Bear Bryant used to refuse to give these guys water in like 105-degree heat. I mean, so stuff like that. The guy would get arrested if he did it now.
By the way, there's real news. Willie Davis, the Hall of Famer from the Green Bay Packers receiver, has passed 5 championships, never missed a game in 12 years.
Wow. I mean, it's funny that because in baseball, 2 notable names. One very notable, Hank Steinbrenner, the oldest son of George Steinbrenner, and for Blue Jays fans, Damaso Garcia, former Yankee prospect who played 4 or 5 years with the Blue Jays. They both died in the last 24 hours, both at the age of 63. And it's funny that
Garcia had some sort of operation transplant.
He had a brain tumor.
That's right, brain
tumor. But the funny thing is, Russ, they are specifying it was not coronavirus related.
Yeah, you have to now. I mean, it's gotten to the point where, and look, we're seeing younger, for whatever reason, looking at statistics the other day, there's now an area where from like 30 to 39 has become one of the bigger groups to be attacked. We all kept hearing 60, and then we all kept hearing younger, and now 30 to 39, there's quite a few that have and people with no issues. So, it's still in this dangerous area, and we have to respect it. And that's why I got on Dak Prescott, because, it's like, you want to play football? Don't have any parties.
Yeah. All right, let's get started. I'm not sure what we're going to start with. Zach will be joining us any second here. Hello, Hockey World. Today is Wednesday, April 15th, 2020.
I'm Anthony Mincioni from Sunrise Magazine.
Russ Cohen, Sportsology.
And I'm Michael Agello, and this is the HockeyBuzzcast here on HockeyBuzz.com. Well, we'll start with the news that Eck posted on his blog, and it came out this morning. Dr. Fauci, who's been front and center in all of the meetings and all the press conferences regarding coronavirus for the president and his group that has been handling the crisis, or leading the direction in terms of how the crisis is being addressed. He came out and made a statement regarding sports, and I know that the commissioners of all the sports are going to be on a conference call with Trump today, another one today. So I don't know if it's going to be a weekly thing, because it just happened last week that they had one, but it sounds to me like he's just, there seems to be a movement right now to try to get some aspects of the economy reopened. It's just a question of when and how and what they're going to do. But sports seems to be at the forefront. And Fauci came out and said, well, we can probably get things opened fairly quickly, but it's going to have to be with no fans in the stands.
Yeah, we've been talking about that, but this conversation,
there were a lot. Yeah,
I was just going to say, this conversation now seems to be started because his boss brought it up in his press conference. And so now this seems to be not a talking point because Fauci does follow his own drummer, but it does seem to be a directive, doesn't it?
He does throw in a lot of, if they do this, if this happens, if that happens. So he may be, yes, he's walking the political tightrope. I don't think there's any question about that, but he knows full well that he has to put in a lot of those ifs, and people are running with it, but there's a lot of things that can happen if you do this or if you do that. And that's, I didn't take after reading that. I didn't take that as it's a, this was definitely
not really complete. It's not really complete.
No.
Because right now, Anthony, if they start opening things up and it spikes, then everything is going to shut down again.
Exactly, and that's the risk. We all know that you're running. That if you try to bring things back in, and you just have one or two cases, the whole the thing just goes kaflooey at that point. It just does.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the worst part that came out, and I didn't watch the press conference, but I saw some of the stuff after. The worst thing that came out of that was, again, they showed that Trump picture where he's at the 2006 NLCS, and you see Beltran look back at the umpire because he just looked at the called third strike, and he's standing up in the crowd, and you see Trump. And it's just like, why are we talking about 2006 all over again? Please stop talking about that.
Jeez. Are we talking Adam Wainwright?
Yeah, but that's like, I couldn't believe that's what came out of yesterday, but that's what came out of yesterday. But the Fauci stuff
tailored for you, Russ.
Well, I mean, if we started talking 93, how many times can you see the Joe Carter homer? Like, you don't want to see it anymore.
True, but at this point now, I've kind of sort of worked that out.
Yeah, because you won one.
Well,
exactly.
It was funny. It was funny, Russ, because Don LaGreca on ESPN Radio yesterday was doing like his top New York sports moments in games that the New York teams lost.
Right.
And the top moment, I think the the number 3 was the Endy Chavez catch.
I have a picture of that. It is still one of the most remarkable catches, but again, the mood changed quickly, man. It was like, really?
Yeah. Well, hey,
like that's what happened.
Hey, Alfonso Soriano hitting a home run in the 8th inning in Game 7 against Arizona, and then friggin' Luis Gonzalez with the pool cue, that piece of crap.
Let me ask you this: where did the '73 World Series rank in that list?
He didn't have it on the list.
He should have had it on the list because Don's a little bit younger than me.
Yeah.
And this is where I feel like he's missed out on a little bit. He's really good. Don't get me wrong. Don LaGreca is excellent. But that 73 World Series, when you have the Mets playing the A's, and the A's are like the super A's with Reggie Jackson, Catfish Hunter, all those guys, Rudy, Fosse, Tennis, amazing pitching, Vita Blue. They weren't supposed to even be able to hang with them, and they did. And there were some tight plays in that series, and the Mets, lost, which, most expected them to. That should be in the list.
Yeah, the number 1 was the Robin Ventura Grand Slam single.
Yeah, that's a great one.
For some reason, he absolutely hates that, and it's weird. It's weird.
Why would he hate that? I thought it was an interesting moment. They ended up losing the series for one thing. I know,
but the thing is that it's celebrated as one of the greatest moments in Mets history, and Ventura missed the bag.
No. I don't think it's celebrated as one of the great moments. I think it was just one of those moments where it was just. You've never seen it since, have you?
I've seen it once or twice.
Yeah, it's a rarity. I think that's all it is.
I start thinking of Patrick Kane.
Yeah, that's the sort of anticlimactic.
It was arguably the oddest end to a sport to a championship.
Yeah, because we were all there watching it live and nobody knew what happened.
This is the weirdest thing. Yesterday in ESPN, I didn't watch it, but I saw it advertised. They were doing some sort of look back at the Kirk Gibson home run against Eckersley in the '88 World Series in Game 1. I think they had Gibson, and they were just sort of reflecting on what had happened. And I think I posted on Twitter that they showed the Jack Buck call, the radio call, which is great. I love Jack Buck, but the better call is the Vin Scully call. I wanted to go. I went on YouTube and I turned on and I wanted to watch the replay of that with Scully, and he hits the home run, and I watched the replay of Gibson going around the bases, and he missed second base.
Oh, that's funny.
He missed the base.
I'm going to tell you
at that point, God knows what amount of. I mean, between adrenaline, pain.
Yes.
Because I mean, how many times when you hear that call from Scully, them describing, you're watching him literally. It's just all upper body at that point with Gibson trying to yank that ball out of there.
Yeah, and Scully was saying basically, I don't know if he can get around the bases.
And literally in this case, it's just like, who knows at that point? He missed the base, but it was like, I know, but that's that kind of stuff. Like apparently, like that would have been right up there. That would have been up there with Brett and the Pine Tar.
That would have been
had Ruth been on top and said he missed second base. It wouldn't have mattered. I mean, it would have been a tie. What would have happened in that circumstance?
That would have been up there with the Merkel boner in the 1912 World Series because he missed the bag and they tagged the bag and then they ended up losing the series.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, the ball's out of the yard, so that's the issue.
Right. Exactly.
So that's probably you let it go. But had it been,
but they cited when Chambliss hit the home run in '76 for the Yankees to get to the World Series. The crowd came, spilled out onto the field at Yankee Stadium, and he had to run for his life. And they said after the game, he went back and touched home plate.
Yeah, but he was like a linebacker. He was getting mobbed. But here's the thing. My original take with the Eckersley Gibson thing was, why didn't you throw it further outside? He could barely reach. He couldn't even stand up at the plate.
He was fouling off. I mean, they went like 9 pitches.
No, but he could have just thrown it more outside. That's what he should have done. I do have another bone to pick here. We might as well talk about it. Yesterday, Pierre Dorian did a call and said there's no rush to cancel the rest of the season, the regular season. Now, if I'm wrong, I just looked it up. I think the Senators only have 4 home games. Yeah. Is this really Eugene Melnick trying to hold up an entire league for 4 home games? Is this what we're talking about?
I knew you were going there.
But see, this goes along with the Doughty comments from a couple of days ago because these teams that are clearly out of it, they don't want to come back for what they deem are meaningless games. Now, the other teams do because they don't want to refund season tickets or things of that nature. I think that's probably part of the mix here. But I'm sorry, if the league says you got to play 82 games, you got to play 82 games.
But this is 4 home games. Like, I can't believe we're having there's this big discussion now because one team there who, yes, they're short of money. They're still going to be short of money at the end of it. So the 4 home games isn't really going to bail them out of much. It's 4 home games. It's not that much.
Well, no, I mean, I am finding, Anthony, more and more merit in the proposal to roll back to 68 games for fairness so everybody plays the same amount of games. If that's truly what the concern is.
It's tough. I'm not going to go on board with a rollback to 68. It's point. I am on the point percentage hill to die if necessary. I will not go. I can't go with a roll. I can't go with a 68 game rollback. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I think the only change between the point percentage and the rollback is that I think the Islanders make it and Columbus is out.
So what are we going to do? 75? You're going to go to 75 and then bring back a couple of teams to play 2 games, 3 games?
I mean, Drew Doughty doesn't want to play these games. He's probably too busy getting his teeth fixed or something.
Well, I'll even give you a good one too. The NHL's doing a live conference call now with Ryan Strome and someone, not a conference call, but on Twitter, and they're asking him questions. Someone said, "What's your favorite workout?" He goes, "No workout, really." And he put a laughing face. That's a great answer. Honest answer.
You see, and this is obviously a different sport, but I saw a video of Serge Ibaka from the Raptors, powerlifting in his den. Basically, he's in front of a big screen TV. He's got 300 pounds and he's deadlifting, and now he's working out. He's showing that he's working out. You oppose that to William Nylander and his brother Alex, who look like they're on the beach in California.
He looks like I saw them. I looked at him. I was like, he looks like Matthew McConaughey and Dazed and Confused. They both, especially William.
Do these guys realize that they're not doing themselves any favors? Just like us not lounging out on the beach with our shirts off. It's like, I mean, you're not doing
yeah.
I mean, I get it. Willie is making $7 million a year, and he's and right now they'd be playing in the playoffs, and he's chilling, and that's all fine.
He's cut though, man. Look, he's fine. He's got the shirt open. He's cut. He's like, I'm doing what I need to be doing.
Mike,
I'm allowed to blow. I'm allowed to blow off steam with my bra.
There you go.
Well, yeah, but okay. What is better, that visual or the visual of Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner? I think it was Rick Nash. Were playing NHL 20. They had a video snippet. I just retweeted it about 10 minutes ago. Just them playing NHL. I mean, that's okay. I mean,
that's actually not Rick. I don't think that's Rick Nash.
It said
no. He's one of the professional Nasher. He's one of the he plays. He's one of the professional esporter.
Come on, Mike.
Those guys. Yeah. Go ahead, Ross.
That's okay.
I was just gonna say, come on, Mike. You should know better than that.
I'm like Rick Nash play. Rick Nash playing. That's okay.
Well, I will say this though. Years ago,
Nash, maybe.
Years ago, Nash did work with 2K Sports, and I did watch him playing the game in Manhattan, and we were there to cover it. So he did play to some degree.
I missed NHL 2K.
Yeah, 2K was awesome.
It was the better of the two.
It was more exciting. The excitement was
more of a sim, better simulation of the game.
Better simulation too. You're right. Yeah, that's a good point.
I started writing a series of articles for.
Wait, Mike, I've got breaking news. This is what I was going to break in with.
It's broken.
WKBW is going to be airing the Four Falls of Buffalo this Saturday at 3:30. What could that be about? Tell me what that's about, Mike.
Okay, so I've been writing a series of articles for regarding the potential of compliance buyouts being used when the next season because
no, this is the Bills.
No, I know what the Four Falls of Buffalo is. I know who narrated it, Russ. I don't feel like I need to address the
misery loves company, especially 4 times.
Okay. They showed Niagara Falls in the picture, Mike. That's what was really funny about it.
Yes, I'm sure.
Niagara Falls.
Slowly I turn.
Step by step, inch by inch.
So which of the 4 falls do you like the least?
Well, there are only 2 falls in Niagara Falls.
No, but in that picture, they're talking about the 4.
The most embarrassing of the 4 losses was the one to the Redskins.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, Thurman Thomas lost his helmet.
Right, forgot about that.
Andre Reed was dancing in the introduction like like they were going to win the 65-3, and they ended up getting their ass kicked by Mark Rippon.
I
mean, at least they were, I mean, the Cowboys outclassed them in the 3rd Super Bowl. They had a chance to win in the fourth one and blew it. So, but nothing hurts more than the Giants one because they got outcoached and just it was terrible. Anyway, let's talk hockey while we wait for Rack. I've been writing a series of articles about the use of compliance buyouts, and I started with the Atlantic Division, with the bottom 4 teams in the Atlantic Division, and who, if I was the general manager, who I would consider using the compliance buyout on. Ottawa is pretty simple. Detroit is pretty simple, but I'll just with Ottawa, I said a player like Nikita Zaitsev, who has 4 years left in the contract, making $4.5 million.
But things have just not worked out. From even a playing standpoint, off the ice, all of it.
Right. He didn't play badly for them this year. But the other one is a consideration because we don't know. If you remember the 2012 lockout, there were 2 compliance buyouts that teams were given, and it was over the next 2 off seasons. So they could buy out somebody after the 2013 year and then in the off season of 2014.
That's not going to be the case this time.
No, it's probably going to be one.
Use it or lose it. That's what it's going to be.
Right. Now, the other one besides Zaitsev was Bobby Ryan. And Bobby Ryan's got 2 years left at 7.25, and he hasn't scored over 20 goals in 4 seasons. So it's a question of
they're going to do it for the highest dollar figure. That's what they're going to do.
I agree. I think Anthony, I think it would be Ryan over Zaitsev, even though Zaitsev has got – they actually save more money on Zaitsev because Zaitsev is double the years.
I do wonder a little bit about the public relations sort of thing as well, like considering what happened with Ryan and the pop he got when he
You think Eugene Melnick cares about that?
I'm not saying Melnick does, but I'm just saying it's the one smidgen of the consideration where I would say that. Otherwise, yeah, I would say Ryan's the more likely of the two.
Yeah. Now Detroit, like 2 years ago, they had a bunch of players that I said would have been candidates for this, but the ones I picked were Justin Abdelkader, and he's not hurt, so they can't do it to somebody like Zetterberg or Franzen if they had long-term left because they're on LTIR, but they can do it on Abdelkader, I think he's making $4.25 for the next 3 or 4 years. I'm looking it up right now.
But Mike, they all want to know, who did you pick for the Leafs?
Well, I'm doing that next week.
Oh, next
week. I'm just talking about the four I've written about. Franz Nielsen. Okay. Franz Nielsen from that great free.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, Nielsen, good player, but again, far too much for
age too quick. Yeah.
But Abdelkader's got 3 more years at 4.25, and Nielsen's got 2 more years at 5.25. And
you know what it is? Abdelkader could at least play greasy still.
Yes.
Nielsen doesn't do much else.
Now, this was the first of the controversial ones. One is a no-brainer with the Sabres, Kyle Oposo. Bad contract. He's healthy right now.
Which is a shame. It's not his fault. He actually played okay this year. Yeah.
Right. But he's healthy right now, which would mean he's eligible to be bought out. 3 years left at $6 million. But I'll tell you right now, if I were the Sabres GM, and I know if it's Botterill, he won't do that because he'll get raped.
Do you want to be the Sabres GM, Mike? Is that what you're saying?
No, because I'd get fired in about 5 seconds. No,
along with a lot of other people.
A lot of other people, yeah. I would consider buying out Jeff Skinner. Because
what are you, insane?
Because that contract is ridiculous.
Like, how much Tang did you have before the show? Like, come on, man. Seriously.
I am not drinking the Pagula Kool-Aid. Thank you.
Remember, Rush, this is a compliance buyout, not a regular buyout that doesn't count against the cap.
But they're still going to be missing the talent.
I know, but
they can't afford to lose the talent.
Yeah, well, that they should have thought about that. I mean, maybe they should have traded him. All I know is he had 40 goals 2 years ago, and then last season
he had a bad year. He's going to come back and score 30. You can't replace the speed. You're insane.
That's an albatross contract.
Do you know how many teams would line up to get Jeff Skinner the minute he got bought out?
I'm sure.
Your Leafs would be first in line.
Possibly, if you take a minimum contract,
then he would, because Buffalo would be paying for it.
No, but this is and I know you've already disagreed on this, but I'm going to say it again. With Montreal, the common answer to this question would be Carl Alzner, because it was a bad signing. Mm-hmm. He's been down in the AHL the last 2 years. He's got 2 more years at 4.25. But this is an opportunity. This is a get-out-of-jail-free card. I am sorry. Either Shea Weber or Carey Price. You bail now, because those contracts are going to be albatrosses within, I'd say, 2 years.
Your boat's filling up with water, Mike. That's all I could say. It is.
I don't see it.
But to answer your question, Russ, and I'm giving a preview about my
yes,
what I'm writing. The Leafs don't have anybody that I would.
Well, but they're going to do somebody, because
they're not. I don't think they would.
You think they will pass on it?
Yes.
I think they'll be more likely to do a trade of some sort before they do.
But it doesn't allow for that unless they.
Right, it won't allow for that. Like, you're going to have to just get rid of a salary or not. And I'll tell you, there's definitely one. Hold on.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. You're
going to buy out Alex Kerfoot.
You might, yes.
No, that's stupid. That's stupid.
Okay, that's dumber than Jeff Skinner. Is that what you're telling me, Mike?
Yes, it would be. Alex Kerfoot's making $3.3 or $3.4 million. Yeah.
Well, how much free money do the Leafs have, Mike? Not much.
Yeah, but
so they're going to have to make a tough.
Brent Looney, what are you talking about?
You could trade Kerfoot and get a good return. You could. I'm not saying you're going to get a return like I mean, Skinner makes $9 million, Russ. Hey,
hello. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I was spending the last 5 minutes getting destroyed by Russ and Anthony for my bad opinions.
Well, let me jump on that. What's going on?
No, we were just talking. We were talking about the compliance buyout scenario for teams, and I advocated if I was the Sabres because this is the compliance buyout situation. If they do it, is a get out of jail free card for teams that are in cap straits. And if I was Buffalo, you probably, there's only going to be one, then you would do Kyle Opozo, and that makes sense. If you had two, I would consider Jeff Skinner because Jeff Skinner's contract is 7 more years at $9 million, and I think it was a bad contract from the very outset.
Yeah, I think you're wrong too. I'm going to jump on with that.
Right, of course.
No, I mean, it is a good opinion. I like people. I'm not one to take a popular opinion every time either, Mike. So I understand this.
Yeah, a dead referee. Did you rate a dead referee's closet? Like what's happening here?
Why must you always comment on my clothing?
People always laugh at the face of Jesus.
I got to ask about the hat. Is that a Team USA hat or is that an Atletico Madrid hat?
This would be a Captain America hat.
There we go, Captain America. There we go.
It looks like Payne Stewart's cap.
I thought that was like an Atletico hat. I was like, boy, where'd you pull that one out of?
Got to have been cooler than this, but this is like this I pulled out of GameStop at some point.
No, that's a good hat. But we talked about your clothing buying the other day, and now you walked in with something that you don't see.
This is also another thrift shop. Fine, like I said, somebody very wealthy around here keeps giving polo shirts to the thrift shop. I keep buying them for like $9.99.
I have to point out in the chat, this is a tan shirt. This is gray.
Not gray.
All right, so I mean about Skinner.
Be careful with your tang, Mike. No
water today.
No, man. I'm just happen to be the only guy who takes time to not wear a hoodie in here, apparently.
This is hoodie row down here. You guys.
Oh yeah, that's hoodie row down there. Yeah, definitely. And then Mike's got t-shirt row.
Our basement's cold. What do you want?
That's fine.
I'm gonna get a space heater down here.
So I was just outside trying to. We had people over here that were supposed to fix the yard. It was a mess, and my nose is burning now because the pollen's falling like snow. But anyway,
well, let's talk about Dr. Fauci.
Let's get to that in a second. But Skinner, first off, I think that there's just Skinner. You got to give him a little bit of a break on the ones. I mean, he hasn't had. He's got way more upside than Oposo. Oposo is obviously, unfortunately a health risk. That's just where it's at. So, I think you gotta. You definitely buy out. If you have two, you still don't buy out Skinner. Skinner is, I was not for the contract that they signed with Skinner. I thought it was way too long.
Well, that's why
it's like a macro version of the Ville Leno signing. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
But it's funny you mentioned that because remember there were two compliance buyouts. They used one on Leno, one on I think they used the other one on Ehrhoff. And it's like, okay, those are the two contracts they signed when Pegula bought the team and said go out and spend a ton of money, and they did, and they spent a bunch of money stupidly. And they signed Ehrhoff to a 10-year, $40 million contract.
I hated that deal. God, did I hate that deal.
And it's like, okay,
I like Ehrhoff, but I saw that deal. I was just like, oh.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't mind Ehrhoff, but for that deal, wow.
And he was still a decent defenseman when they bought him out, but it was like, okay, the problem was the 10 years.
Right.
Exactly. No.
Yeah, you're basically saying Christian Ehrhoff is going to be your franchise level defenseman for a decade, and he was a 2 or a 3 at that point.
3, really, yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
And Anthony in the chat was like, because I said with Montreal, with Montreal, I would do either Price or Weber, and I know everybody disagreed about that. But he's like, why not trade Price? Who the hell is trading for Price at $10.5 million?
Not in this climate.
He's 32 years old, and he's got 7 years left of the contract.
No team could afford to do it next year.
Any trades that would happen, you go to New York for Georgiev first, or a number of other players on much more affordable contracts.
Yeah, I mean, given the current status, I mean, if Montreal kept part of that contract, they could find it. They could find somebody for Price if they kept part of the contract. It's not.
That's going to be hard. I mean, if you go flat cap,
get that down to $7 million per year, I think they could.
4 million. Yeah, 4 million. Yeah, if they retain 4 million. So anyway, let's talk about
what's the point of the Canadians doing that though?
There's none.
They don't need cap savings. So what
Price is the best. Is they might as well keep. They've got their goalie. I mean, that to me. That's like if you got your goalie, keep your goalie.
Because you never know. The reason you keep Carey Price is because you never know if one year all of a sudden they have a good year, things click, you didn't expect it, and now you've got Carey Price. If you don't have him, you never have a chance.
No, that's true. That's really true. I definitely agree with that. All right, getting into Mr. Faust today. Fauci, sorry, Faust.
Boy, that was a Freudian slip there.
That was a Freudian slip. Oh my God.
Faustian bargains. Let's go.
I know. I'm talking about the former quarterback, Faust.
No, the former coach of Notre Dame.
Andre Faust, former Philadelphia Flyer. Keep going.
There you go. Yes, who came out today and said he's a baseball fan. Apparently, he's a big fan of the Washington Nationals, which we all know now for some reason. So yeah, I don't know. So anyway, so and I think you've done. I'm not trying to get political on this at all. Definitely. I don't want to go there. I mean, we
did a little. We did.
It's hard not to go there completely, obviously, because what's happening is absurd and awful, but and really just a joke. And is no one never mind. Is no one around this? Does no one around this president at all understand how the internet works these days? Like, does no one get that at all? Like, if the second you try to prove yourself not doing something wrong in this day and age, you're guilty. That's the way it works, right? You cannot sit there and say, but I did this right. And you can't, that does not. Yeah.
There's 1,000 fact checkers right at their fingertips every minute.
Right. And just the act of trying to prove you're not wrong makes you wrong on the internet. There's a language.
But you know what we were saying? We were saying because his boss had just come out and talked about sports and how we need it, it just seems like Fauci all of a sudden giving a glimmer of hope for sports was a little convenient.
Yeah. I mean,
look, we're all optimistic, but that was a little convenient.
So my daughter came home yesterday, and they have this thing they do at the high school, which is not the greatest thing in the world, but it's impossible to keep high school kids from not ever seeing each other. They don't see each other, but what they do is they park their cars. I don't know if you've heard about this, Anthony. Are they doing this at your school? I'm not sure. They park their cars in a big circle, and I've driven over there just to see what's going on to make sure. Like, I've driven past it, and they literally do this. They're all smart, and they all sit on top of their cars and talk to each other in the parking lot. And it's interesting. It's a big circle. They're all like at least 6 feet apart from each other.
Oh boy!
I mean, these are seniors who will never see each other again. So you kind of feel bad telling them they can't do that. It's not like
Yeah.
So one of them works at the one of my daughter's friends works at the hospital in Philly, and he's one of the top guys there, and said that the peak in Philly was April 6th, and that things are getting better. That's what he said, which is great news. All right, that's and he said that's what. But he says the news won't say this because the news wants us to be responsible, which I'm fine with. It's great news, but something like this again, everything that's said by the government, like this thing today, like we can get sports back really soon, it leads to more comfortableness, like which is
all sense of security.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm like the most optimistic guy in the world, but come on, like can we just take the win and say, hey guys, we're doing a great job. This is awesome. We flattened the curve, but this whole process is only halfway through. Or
I'd like to be winning for a whole month.
Yeah. We got to stay on course. We cannot, and that to me is like, and that's what the problem with things like this are. Like that, and then the practicality of it all on top of that is really absurd. Like for the NHL, especially, maybe for basketball. Basketball is the only sport I could see that could play in front of fans, and it probably wouldn't matter because basketball is so driven by television contracts.
Well, let me just bring this up because you've been bringing back basketball, and then we'll get back to this.
So few players is the other thing about basketball. You have so few players, right? So
right, and fewer players. But I'll tell you the attempt by the NBA, and I don't know if it was sponsored specifically by the NBA or by the Players Association or what, but this ESPN horse thing that they were doing where they were shooting trick shots as a means of like placating and satisfying fans. Yeah. It's fallen completely on its face. It looks terrible. Nobody cares. They want games back.
I have no problem with that kind of stuff because, Mike, I mean, there might be really cares about it, but it's like at least they're trying to do something.
No, it's clunky. It's clunky. It's like I tried to watch it. And the problem is it's just there's the pacing of it. There's no production value. And when you're watching people play horse with no production value, you might as well just go out in your yard and do it.
It's one big giant Zoom conference. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. With all the, with all the awkwardness that comes with it.
Yes.
Because it's not, you can't script it, and it's just, you can't edit it.
Right.
You can't edit it for it's tough to edit it. Especially if you're doing it live.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why, but again, for the criticism that the WWE got for WrestleMania, it was almost a case where they had, in order to make it look like the semblance of a cohesive show, they had to tape.
Yes, right. And WWE stands for World Wrestling Essential. Now this is the thing. It's like, I mean, I think there is a level of frustration out there. I understand the government is going to tell you, not what you want to hear, but what they think they need to convey to you. But people, it's a month. People are getting frustrated. People want outlets. So if they can safely play baseball and hockey and basketball in front of no fans for people to watch, I still think I'm usually not an optimist. I'm usually the most pessimistic person in the world. I think
you don't have to prove to us. We got that.
I think we're playing hockey this year. I think this stuff that came out yesterday, and I have all the respect in the world for Bob McKenzie and Darren Drager and LeBrun, but they came out on their insider trading, and we're talking about reports that the 2020-21 season is going to be in danger. I mean, what crap?
Well, I mean that's a little alarming.
No, that's what they're being told.
There's really no point in going there. I mean, that's not. They can start in January, and if this thing isn't better in January, we've got a lot bigger problems, right? Like, to me, this, we won't be.
We have to be, and again, even if the first wave is, even if we don't know if there's, if you're going to have a second wave of this or not. And I think that's where they're probably operating out of now more than anything, which is why I'm not going to jump on them completely, because you do have to keep that in mind.
No, but the NHL is like, so, and there's no question, that the president of the United States is putting a prime, sports is in the spotlight here. Like, he's seeing sports as something that can show that we're on our way back, right? And I agree with that sports is one of those things that people, and I'm with you, that people need. But if the United States is going to do this, first of all, in hockey, we got to remember that there's a lot of Canadian teams. This is not like a simple thing to do. You can't bring this back without Canada agreeing with it, which they will never agree with. Okay, so.
That's why those Canadian teams will play in neutral sites.
Yeah, but but the Canadian teams won't agree to it. I don't think Canadians. At the end of the day,
borders are still closed. How do you get around that? Again, if the
borders
can do this.
I think you can get around that.
Special dispensation.
Yeah, I think that you can, because they fly in their own planes. I think there's ways to do that. But I think that at the end of the day, if the United States starts forcing people back to work and saying, we need to, everybody's got to go back to the economy, and sports people are part of that, and whatever, this is all, which is, there are hints that they could try to do, which is ludicrous, but they could try. And if that happens, then, the NHL would just economically, they would go to the government and say, like, we can't afford to do the way you're saying do it. Like, there's no way the NHL can afford to play without fans. From what I've been talking to people, and I wanted that too. I mean, I was on this show.
I still think they're going to play without fans.
I think there's literally no chance that the NHL is going to be able to play games in July and August with fans in the stands. It's unless there's
definitely July, August. Who knows? It's a long way away. You never know.
Right. I think these leagues are the only league that's not planning for empty stadiums is the NFL. The NFL, they don't start until September, and I think that they are going to want to play.
They can live in their bubble at least for a little while. I think they're going to start late, though. I think the NFL's starting later than
start late. There's no reason the NFL shouldn't start late. Right.
I do believe that's what'll happen.
Well, what good does a month do if they start in October rather than in September?
There's a lot.
Well, we don't know if there's a hint of a vaccine or something better testing, then it is worth waiting a month. But I have a feeling they're not getting it off the ground even on September. I do have some real news. The Penguins another great signing, Will Riley. I'm reading a report that I have on Sportsology from last November, and I'll just read it to you. I said he's a defenseman. He's 6'3", 195. He's the team captain, point per game player, four goals in 9 games. Tricky backhand around the net, good skater, excellent passer. The Penguins can use him the same way they are using John Marino currently. That's
RPI, right?
Yep. And this is, again, you wonder why I can still say I feel like the Penguins can contend, and it's because they're adding some really excellent college talent, not just depth talent, guys who could actually play and have a path to the NHL like Marino. These are really adept signings, and I don't think the Penguins get credit for their scouting staff because, everybody just looks at the stars they have, and even Gensel was a great scout, right? But he was great in college, but still was gutsy picking them. But at the end of the day, nobody talks about those things anymore, but it's these other little things that are actually keeping them competitive.
Yeah, well, everybody has their different methods. And Anthony, it's like, you look at what's going on right now with a team like Toronto, who is clearly aiming at the KHL and saying, okay, we're going to bring in players on entry-level contracts for less than $1 million because we're spending $40 million on Nylander, Marner, Matthews, and Tavares. And that's the only way we can continue to add talent that's ready-made for the NHL is going for 24, 25-year-old guys who are playing in the KHL. So, now Pittsburgh is signing college free agents, and they're having success. Toronto's getting guys from
Montreal, I think they announced earlier, was it Romanov's going to be coming over?
He's a draft pick, but still. But getting a guy like Mikheyev, and who knows about Barabanov, who they just signed, but going that way is smart for teams that are up against it because that they really have no other way to really bring in talent other than that.
Especially if you're going to fill a bottom pairing defenseman on a competitive team with entry-level talent, but they're not like kids. That's a smart way to go, man. That's a good way to say
all those players are ready to go and can adapt.
Yeah,
that's the key. As long if you feel that they project and you're going to give them a little bit of leeway to get themselves used to playing the North American game, because again, they've spent their entire careers playing a certain way with a lot more space. There are habits.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was still talking to college. You're talking KHL, but either way.
It's common.
So just extrapolating off of that in terms of KHL, a little surprised at the signing of Bill Peters for a 2-year contract with
Automobilist.
in Ekaterinburg. So he can check out the Apatiev house where the
Ekaterinburg, man. That's like middle. As my wife's fond of saying, that's out there.
But a 2-year contract in the KHL could be a 2-month contract too.
Good point.
True. And again, as I said, for me, it's going to be fascinating because again, you've got Nigel Dawes there, who is one of the most respected and well-decorated players in the KHL.
Yeah.
And after what happened with Akim Aliu, again, Bill's going to have to handle himself better than he did before.
Yeah, I'd say.
Isn't Datsuk on that team too?
Datsuk is on that team as well. Yeah, I mean, it's they got some talent there certainly. I mean, Datsuk is obviously up there in years, not quite as he still has his moments.
He's got to be like 43 or something like that.
41.
Yeah, but on that surface, he still can make play. He still has space to make plays.
Yeah, he's from that area.
Yeah, that's where he's originally from. Yeah.
Yeah. He's from Ekaterinburg because it was when it was communist. It was the name of the town was Sverdlovsk. So it changed. They changed it back to Ekaterinburg. So yeah.
Yeah, you didn't think you'd find out that today on the HockeyBuzzcast?
Yeah,
we provide all kinds of services here.
We've mentioned the Romanovs and the Apatiev house, so there you go.
My son just did a whole report on the Romanovs, so I'm very up on the Romanovs myself right now.
There you go. The Preds just extended Alexander Carrier again.
Yep. 3-year deal. Yeah.
Another inexpensive defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way you do it. I mean, he had great numbers in Milwaukee. He could skate. He only got 3 games this year, but you could envision.
I meant to ask, is he related to William Carrier?
I don't know. I'll look.
Yeah, we should check it out.
No.
By the way, I have the recap from last night's games that we're getting into in a second. That the Predators Knights game last night was amazing.
And on my favorite,
I have the recap because 3 of you out there pledged $5 a piece on Patreon last night, and so we would continue doing this, doing my recaps of the alternate reality, as opposed to none of you pledging $20, which would have stopped me. So at this point, since
oh wait, I figured
one guy came up with $20 to stop me from going to the alternate reality, I'm still going.
My favorite Romanoff is Natasha.
Eck, we have a little bit bigger news about one of your neighbors. No matter
go ahead.
No matter the outcome of this season, Justin Williams is done after it.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second. He might be.
TSN reported it. It's real.
All right. No, I mean, but he's,
he says he's hanging it up. That's it.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. I mean, but I think at the same time, I mean, geez, come on.
You can meet him. You can meet him at Lucy. Anytime.
I ever see him down in Margate again, and he doesn't. He'll tell me that. He'll tell me the opposite of that, and then just that'll be fine because he lies. He lies. He's a liar.
But we talked about this for a minute, and I honestly think that
that's right. I'm calling Justin Williams a liar, Anthony. That's right.
Fine, but we talked about this, and I remember Mike and I were thinking
jab.
He probably wouldn't come back if there was a shortened season, because again, look at all it took just for him to come back. He probably didn't make as much as he was hoping to make with Tom Dundon and the signing.
True.
So he's probably like, you know what? I gave it a go. I had my last taste. If we get more season, great. But he doesn't want to go through it again. I don't blame him.
Yeah. I don't blame him at all. I mean, he's been through a lot. He's been beat up, and
if he comes back for another year, Dundon can't pay him any less than he's paying him right now because he's on the league minimum.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. I think that probably played into it. If you ask me, it's like he waited this time. He wanted to play. Yeah. He played, but he clearly was looking for more money. I mean, there's no question he would.
He thought he had more power than he did.
Yes.
But that I think is definitely true. But he, at the same time, I think the part of him was like, you know what, I'll just play part of the season. Why would I? Veterans like him hate the preseason, hate getting ready.
Right.
And I think he wanted to sit down.
He did a Matt Sundin.
He wanted to sit down near Cedar Grove Street in Ventnor and sit on the beach, which is where I see him every freaking.
Or Forsberg that year with the Avalanche, that all of a sudden miraculously with 20 games to go in the season, hey, I'm better.
Isn't this like the Kurt Schilling thing or something? Who did this before? I'm trying to remember baseball. Somebody
did. Clemens did that in the last few years.
He's back. Yeah, remember Susan Waldman?
Yeah. Right. That's what we're talking about here, right? So that's kind of crazy.
Don't believe it. Roger Clemens is in the booth with George Steinbrenner.
That's pretty good, actually.
That's not bad. All right, so you want to know what's going on in the playoff series?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Yes, let's hear my in-person.
Catch up with a bunch of them first of all, because I haven't done for a couple of days here. So the Caps and Hurricanes series was interesting. Anthony, you weren't that far off on game one. It did go to overtime, but the Caps did squeak it out. So the Caps are now up 3-0 in that series. Actually, they play tonight.
Shocking.
What?
Shocking.
No, it is 3-0 in that series. They've been pretty dominant. And Justin Williams, maybe that's why Justin Williams has suddenly decided his alternate reality person is pulling at him, telling him that he's going to end soon. Maybe that's the whole reality here. The other series that we should talk about that plays so the Caps and the Canes play tonight. The other series that play tonight are the Islanders and Bruins. The Islanders and Bruins won the first 2 games in Boston. The Islanders won game 3, and then the Bruins won game 4. So that series is 3-1 for tonight, going back to Boston.
Okay.
Could that possibly end tonight?
Really? Are the Islanders still going with Varlamov and net? No change.
They're staying with Varlamov as
he's not hurt.
He was chased from game 2 after giving up 6 goals.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Period. Yeah, he gave up 6 in the second period of that game.
I've got this. How's the Flyer Penguin series going?
We're getting there.
They flew Sorokin in on a special jet.
Good one. All right, so the other the Blues Calgary series, they also play tonight. So the Blues won for the first 2 games of this series in St. Louis. Calgary won the first game. So this has been a home series so far. They play tonight in Calgary. This is game 4 in Calgary. All right, then Nashville, Vegas. Vegas won the first 3 games of this series, shutting the Predators out in all 3 games. That was the crazy thing. So the Predators had yet to score going into game 4.
And John Hines feels like he's right back in New Jersey.
That's excellent. So true. And then last night, first 2 periods, after 2 periods in Nashville, it was an ugly scene. But this was 2 days ago. Sorry, in Nashville, they play again tonight. This was an ugly scene in Nashville, and it was 2-0 after 2. The Predators still having not scored a goal, and then my man Colton Sissons finally breaks the tie. Breaks the snide with 12 minutes to go. The Preds go on to score 4 more goals in the game, win 4-3, 3 goals from Sissons, a hat trick in the playoffs, which we've seen before.
Yeah, and the ugly scene was somebody had a bad reaction to the hot chicken.
Who's in net for them?
Oh, they have gone to. They went to Saros. They did. Okay. The last night Leonard played, which was surprising after the 3 shutouts from Marc-Andre Fleury. Rumor was he tweaked something, and they're like, "Well, we're up 3-0, so we're good." And so they still have not.
Wait, is that a real quote?
What was that?
Is that a real quote? We're up 3-0, so we're all good. Is that
he tweaks something? So
he tweaks something. So they're like, we're going to give him a break.
No. But I want to know if that was the coach's quote post game.
No, that was the feeling. I got. The coach said, "Screw you, get away from me, Eklund." That's what he said.
Okay.
DeBoer told you that? Wow.
Yeah, that was a direct quote from DeBoer.
Screw you, Eklund.
He's like the last person that would say so. But anyway, I said, "You're no Gerard Gallant. You'll never be a Gerard Gallant." And I walked out of the room. That was me screaming as I walked out of the room. So I don't know if Pete DeBoer and I are going to have any.
Give me your credential, damn it!
I don't know. I don't know.
You're going to have words.
Yeah, so it's 3-1 right now. They did get rid of. Rennie did not play. Are you taking off your clothes?
Oh my God! It's Cohen Mania. It's running wild.
Look, Eck, you'll love this shirt. Look, Eck, look up.
It's even the right color.
Fantastic. What is that? I can't see close.
Cats and hockey.
Excellent.
Fantastic. What does it say?
I know.
I liked it, but I was like hard to tell.
Okay.
All right, another series. So that's 3-1 now. So yeah, we'll see. It goes back to Vegas. The Predators will have to pull out a miracle though, because Vegas really has been the better team. Stone has had his way with the Predators, basically in the series. As they still haven't beaten Fleury, so we'll see if they bring back Fleury for Game 5, or maybe let it go a little bit longer. We'll see how. But because Leonard did not look good.
They lost, so no, I would say unless the injury is severe, I would say they go right back to Fleury.
I think they got to go back to Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
You don't want to give Vegas any more hope here. The other series that we can talk about was
actually one question, Eck. Is the giant chocolate statue of Marc-Andre Fleury intact in the alternate reality?
The giant chocolate statue of Marc-Andre Fleury? No, it's not.
No, Russ, it's been moved to Golden Corral.
It was eaten on a dare.
Actually, I don't know what happened to it. Nobody's ever said if it was.
No, you know what? No, it was in the alternate reality. It was part of the Wing Bowl. It was brought to Philly.
Wing Bowls
returned in the alternate reality.
Yeah.
They talked out into doing it again.
The Wing Bowls never stopped there, and someone to get onto the Wing Bowl ate the entire Marc-Andre Fleury statue. That's what happened.
Okay.
All right. The other series, Dallas, Colorado. Dallas took Game 1, if you remember, which was kind of surprising. Colorado took Game 2. Dallas took Game 3. So tonight will be Game 4. Dallas up 2-1. Game 4 in Dallas. This is a big one. Colorado's got to get it going here. And the rumor is that so far we have seen nothing but your guy Grubauer in goal. I don't know. I think that this may have to change. All right, so let's talk about the Flyers-Penguins series because they played last night. It's a hell of a game. All right, so to catch you up on what was happening before that, the Penguins won Game 1 in Philly. The Flyers won Game 2 in Philly. The Flyers won Game 3 in Pittsburgh. And then last night, here I'm going to bring up my box score from last night. Here I got it in my alternate reality. Where is it here? I got it right here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this was something. All right, ready? This was a game and a half last night because the Flyers up 2-1, chance to go 3, chance to go up to 3, all kinds of scoring, chance to go up 3-1 in Pittsburgh, all kinds of scoring in this game. Remember that Carter Hart had a shutout in Game 2. It was Game 3 was 3-2 for the Flyers, and Carter Hart was again good. Last night, Carter Hart got chased 5 minutes in, giving up 4 goals in the first 5 minutes. The Penguins were over the Flyers with the prospect of going down 3-1.
They put in Brizgalov.
Oh yeah, Brizgalov. No,
seriously.
No, he is Alex Lyon. I forgot to tell you that Brian Elliott hurt himself in practice. And
all season. He got through the entire season, gets to the playoffs, and gets hurt finally.
Breaks the entire season. Alex Lyon instead has to be the backup, and he comes in last night and was no better than Hart. Well, better than Hart because Hart gave up so many goals. But the Penguins put up a 10 spot on Philly last night.
Oh, this is like the 80. It's like the 89 series now. Oh my goodness.
10-2 was.
When's Kenny Reggett coming out?
Where we need Kenny Reggett any moment now in Game 7. Kenny Reggett.
10 spot.
A 10 spot.
God.
Kenny
Flashback.
It was
Oh
horrible.
my
Yeah,
God.
the solace I'll take in this, and Flyers fans can take in the 10 spot of this, okay, is that I did this years ago. I did a statistic that when a team wins up in a playoff game by more than 5 goals in the series, they lose the series 65% of the time, which is a really weird stat that I figured out. But basically,
they use up all their scoring.
Yeah,
That's
like
the problem. You know, it is. It's all the,
it's the
ebb and flow of hockey where it's either feast or famine.
Because you know how the playoffs work. The playoffs are all about like the mental aspect of things and staying on that edge. And when you score 10 goals, that edge sort of goes away a little bit. And it's hard if you lose that edge in the next game, it's hard to get it back. So game 5, is tomorrow. And that, of course, is back in Philly. We'll all be
I do want to tell you, it has not happened since 2012. The Penguins scored 10 goals.
Really? 20?
Again, yep.
That's I'll put that in the reality article.
They had a 10-3 win over the Flyers, and they won 10-3 in 2012.
I remember that game, actually, come to think of it.
The Flyers were leading the series 3-1. So it's very similar to the alternate reality.
That is weird. Well, I wonder if, I don't know. Maybe
reality's plagiarizing.
But you see, I saw that.
I don't want to say that, Mike. I just want to say it's very similar.
I'm going to predict right now at some point during the series, you might see Kirill Ustimenko.
Fantastic.
He'll win Game 7. He'll pull the Reggett.
Absolutely. That would be great. That would be awesome. The funny thing was, so Anthony wasn't you weren't in the press box for Game 2, and I asked about where Anthony was in the press box. And it turns out you have taken another job scouting for other NHL team. I don't know which one, but you're scouting for an NHL team. Apparently, you'll be back for Game 5. But you had an interview, so I don't know. Apparently, you're staying the season working, but you're now a professional scout somewhere. Go ahead, Mike.
It's probably Buffalo because they fired their entire coaching and scouting staff.
Anthony's not going to Buffalo.
I'm not working for the
fired your intern.
I'm not working for the Bagulas. Sorry.
No. Yeah, no. Mike fired an intern.
Paid up for.
I will let you guys know in the future who it was.
What team it is?
Who I'm working with. I've been told again. I have to keep it very much on the down low.
But
I will say it was enough compensation for. It was enough compensation. Even my wife was like, "Yeah, crap, you got to go take it."
Yeah, you got it. Right, no problem. I know. I was really surprised to find out that Mike fired his intern, which if you remember, is Ken Campbell from the Hockey News, who's been interning.
Ron Campbell, it's Kenny Campbell, not Colin Campbell.
Kenny Campbell.
Now Kenny Campbell's out of work. Great.
No, yeah, he's Mike and Ken Campbell got in a huge fight apparently.
No, my intern is Puck Craze Model.
Oh yeah, no, Puck's Craze. You're married to Puck Craze Model in this reality, Mike. I forgot to tell you.
She's interning too.
Yeah, she's a friend of my wife's, and she's pretty hot. Anyway,
everything's very temporary.
What about Tampa Bay, Toronto?
I can tell you.
You might want to go to that other reality, Mike.
More temporal than temporary. Right?
I won't come back, Yak.
Finally, the Islanders and Bruins series. Did I get into that one? No, I did not, right?
Tampa, Toronto.
Yeah, I got Islanders, and then I'm going to end with Tampa, Toronto, because, I got to do it. Oh, I did Islanders, Bruins, right? Yeah, they're up 3-1. Got that one. Okay, Edmonton, Vancouver, and then Tampa, Toronto. That's what I have to do. Edmonton, Vancouver. Edmonton was up 3-0 in this series. But last night, Vancouver did manage to get a win at home. And in that game, Draisaitl and McDavid went down with injuries. Now, it didn't look serious, Draisaitl's, but McDavid was seen walking with two legs, with both of his legs in casts. But walking.
Wait, how's he walking into with 2 casts?
He's a
Kirk Gibson.
magical guy. I don't know how he's doing it, but there you go. He's so that could. I mean, they're up 3-1, but that's a serious issue. As you know, Koskinen was chased from the series in Game 1. This has been Mike Smith's series, and he's been good, especially after scoring the goal in the first game when the goalie was pulled. When Mike Smith got that goalie goal, which was pretty crazy, he's still been really good. But last night he definitely I think they ran out of steam, and obviously both the injuries had them kind of shaking around for what to do. All right, so finally, what you've all been waiting for, the Maple Leafs and the Lightning. You remember the Leafs won the first 2 games of this series, which was pretty surprising. But Matthews did return to the second game, but did not come back for the third game. And so we were kind of surprised what happened. No one knew. Again, the injuries off and on. It didn't matter. John Tavares had a 6-point night. 3 goals, 3 assists.
Like a Darryl Sittler night.
Yeah, and it was chasing Vasilevsky from the net, and you know Tampa's riling down 3-0. But then last night, finally Tampa gets a win. They're not going to be swept in this series. Again, Matthews out of the lineup. I think maybe, who knows. But this was a tough one. But Stamkos, the big guys you want to score. Stamkos and Hedman each had a pair. They went 4-0. Vasilevsky returned for the shutout.
Just for the people that are betting on this ultimate reality out there, bet on Tampa coming back and winning the series.
Why would you
bet on one other thing? Alternate Mike blowing a complete gasket.
Because it would be the thing that would upset Mike the most.
Which really is not any different than current reality, Mike. Anyway,
who's dead jumping from the Foster Hewitt gondola up? He's wearing a gray shirt and a corduroy jacket.
This is what he gets for wearing a tan shirt.
That's right. No, but I mean,
at least you got the color right there, Anthony.
I mean, I tried, and I wanted to call you your alternate reality person, but remember there are no cell phones, so I couldn't tell you.
So he sent me a telegram
that I was excited. Yeah, no, I used the Morse code thing. I'm really good at it. The Morse code thing that we all have at each of our stations has like a tick, 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 tick. I've gotten really good at it.
I'm trying to figure out how to, by the way, as a scout, I'm still trying to figure out how to file my reports.
Yeah. Probably carrier pigeon. I mean, what I've heard more than any other, when you're
airplane.
When you're outside in this alternate reality, there are pigeons flying every which direction. I think that's probably what's going on. I don't know, but I'll try to find out more.
I think it's your Palm Pilot. Don't you have a Palm Pilot?
Somewhere deep in storage, probably somewhere in one of these boxes.
See, there you go.
I'll go look.
I do have a real news story.
It won't be. And I found out last night because I was like, I talked to somebody last night. I finally got somebody and I felt embarrassed because I've got this iPad. I've got this whole station set up, and people are looking at me like I said, and one of the reporters from Pittsburgh, this woman who I could never stand, called me a witch, because I had all this technical stuff with me, and so I finally asked somebody, and it was indeed true that there were cell phones in this reality. It was just deemed that they were slowly making everybody insane, and they were removed from the reality. Okay. So they're illegal, which is why I had to spend last night in a South Philly jail.
I do have a real news story for a second. If you want to hear it.
I don't think so. I think this is way.
No, this is way too much more fun.
I'm just kidding. I'm almost done, Russ. But I'm fine. I was bailed out. Or I had to do some things I'm not proud of to get out. But I'm out of jail, and I'm okay now. So tonight we've got the other games. Tonight we've got the Caps and the Canes, the Isles and Bruins, the Blues and Calgary, and Dallas, Colorado. All looking at Game 4 tonight. There you have it. That's where we are right now with the alternate reality hockey. I hope. And remember, if you like this, go to patreon.com/hockey and donate $5 and I'll continue, or donate $20 and I'll stop.
All right. So the quick news I want to give out is in New Jersey, this month of March, actually, they only made $181 million in gambling, 65% drop. Here are the sports that people are able to gamble on.
All right.
Belarusian soccer,
right,
and table tennis matches.
Nice.
Those were the only two things they were able to do.
But Russ, this explains why there's a whole group of people out watching me play pickleball. Apparently the pickleball thing,
and we'll find out next month that there's a point shaving scandal in Belarusian soccer.
But just to give you an example, the past 5 months, they were able to make $515 million a month on gambling. So that's a hell of a drop, man.
Now, tomorrow and Friday we have guests.
Right.
Tomorrow we have Peter Hart.
Anthony doesn't count today, but yeah, we'll call him.
No, he's a recurring. He's
like Andy Davis. That's what he's like.
He's like the Pinky Tuscadera of our show.
No, Andy Davis used to say,
Andy Davis. Okay, I'm going to go with Pinky Tuscadera. He's there sometimes. You look forward to it when he shows up. You're surprised to be dating Fonzie, and then he leaves. So that's the whole thing. Go ahead, continue. Mike.
And Kevin Allen on Friday. So Peter Harling on Thursday, when we're going to talk about some 2020 draft prospects, and Friday we'll have Kevin Allen for his usual Friday spot. And next Monday we will have Ted Starkey from Newsday, right, Russ?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about the Caps and the Islanders and other things. So.
And his career as a drummer for the Beatles, right?
That's Zach. Well, that's
Richard Starkey.
That's Richard Starkey. Zach.
Okay, sorry, wrong person. Yeah, there we go.
Another alternate reality.
Yeah, it's the
But he's also a Bills fan, and Mike could talk about him about the special afterwards.
Yeah, bring up the Four Falls of Buffalo, Russ.
I will.
I'm sure he'll be very pleased.
He was uplifting.
All right. Well, excellent. This was fun as always. Thank you so much for joining us, Anthony. We really appreciate it. Good luck with that scouting job. But I look forward to, I'll let you know how, let you know what you tell me tomorrow in the press box.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, folks, let me know what you think of this let me know what you think of the alternate reality thing, because, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot out of me to travel back to that time, frame. Remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey. We will talk to you